Yeah, big time. No man, diamonds in my teeth. I got a lot of shine.
Oh, yes, everybody. This is the DFS ARMY Fantasy Football Podcast, and I am Flex Matt. I'm riding solo today. Flex Shane, he's sick. Brandon Adam is gallivanting somewhere across the globe. Mike, you know Mike. He's probably in a restaurant somewhere. He's probably making deals, not for our fantasy teams, of course, but here I am. It's early in the morning. Okay, I just woke up. It's like 6:50. Brandon McBroom, what's going on? Solo pod right now. I'm hoping Mike will turn up here, but I'll just want to say this: our flex plays have hit for the last 2 weeks. We've hit some good ones. Puka Nacua has been great for us. Last week, we got Tyler Lockett for you, which was nice. My hair, I don't know what's going on with my hair. I don't know what's going on with my Mariners, but this is a fantasy football podcast. Brandon McBroom, thank you. Throw in some comments, you guys. Help me out here because I'm waiting for Mike. We're trying to get into this, but here's what I got to say for our flex plays. For this week, 6 easy flex plays. I'll start getting a couple of mine here, but before we do...
He's my best friend. He's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
I don't know if I like that. I love it kind of. Sometimes it's great, but I don't know how I feel about it completely. But here's the thing about flex plays. Something that's pretty easy to do. It's been trash this year. It's been a really, really rough year. You know, I saw that Alan Seslowski of RotoWire got out and under from Joe Burrow for a Geno Smith and Odell Beckham. Now, Odell's injured. How could you have imagined what would necessarily happen there? But Geno Smith for Joe Burrow. At what point in our teams are we looking at these 1-1s, 0-2s, potentially going to save us from going 0-3? And we look at our guys that we love, that we drafted in the second or third round, and we just got to cut bait with them. Okay? At this point, I know we're playing Jamar Chase. Nico Collins in the flex, Brandon McBroom. I love it. I love it. Nico Collins, I love it. How could you not like Nico Collins at this point? Okay, give me this. Give me this. Nico Collins or Jamar Chase. You tell me. I mean, this is the stink and the filth that we're faced with on a weekly basis. And that's the problem I'm up against this year. I mean, I would say it's a bad year for the Sharps so far. I mean, almost nobody has looked amazing. I mean, Christian McCaffrey has looked generational. But with injuries, with these soft tissue injuries, which is crazy to me because I've never seen, you know, Collins if Burrow sits out. I'm there. I'm 100% there. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what to do with these injuries, you know, and what I think is happening, excuse me, I'm getting a little crazy in here. What I think is happening is that they are keeping their ponies in the stable. And then what happens is they try to grab the ponies out of the stable, saddle them up, turn them into full-fledged steeds, and their hamstrings. It just can't take it. We need to have these guys be playing for 4 weeks of football at a high level so that we don't have to rush these guys onto the field and hurt the hamstrings. So I don't know what to say, but we are still hitting on our flex plays week in and week out, which is really great. The problem is we're not hitting at the top. It's not just us, it's everybody. Jamar Chase, not doing well. Joe Burrow, not doing well. Okay? Daniel Jones, Darren Waller, not doing well. Which is tough because the tight end position this year has been stinky cheese. And it's been really tough. And some people are even calling it Kyle Pitts week this week. Okay? Best ball lineups have been devastated too. I know. And if you maybe had the one or two guys that have exploded, you know, or have made your best ball team look great, no problem. But it's been really tough. It has been really tough. But we're going to try this week to get back on track, because that's what we do. And I think we have to go more chalk. I'm just thinking this week we got to search for the chalk. And what I do when I search for the chalk is I look at the odds. I look at the high over-under games, and I just have to blindly bet that right now, because I just can't trust at the high, you know, on the high side of our drafts right now. I really can't. And I can't trust these guys coming off week 1 injuries, or not week 1, excuse me, in for the first week, previously injured Jerry Jeudy's. I can't trust him. If Christian Watson plays, probably not going to play. If he plays, I'm not going to trust Christian Watson. I can't do it. And why? Well, why not? I want Nico Collins. Okay. But my first flex play on the week, as Mike will eventually chime in here, but I'm loving Jordan Addison this week. Okay. And I don't know how you can't. Jordan Addison has been, you know, the thing you don't like actually about Jordan Addison is that his route participation has been low. He has definitively played behind KJ Osborne. Don't like it. But when he's in there, they're scheming routes for him, getting him in the end zone, and with the highest over-under on the slate this week against the Chargers, okay, it's going to be a shootout. Now, there's no more, I mean, you got to bet that this is a shoot. If this isn't a shootout, I quit fantasy football, okay? Brandon McBroom says, should be a shootout. Great pick. Thank you. Appreciate that. I quit fantasy football if this game goes 14-12. Or so I quit. I might rage quit into the river at some point if this does not become a shootout. But I'm searching for flex plays here, and I definitely can't play Quentin Johnston. If you had listened to this podcast in the preseason, you'd know that I hated that guy. Okay, absolutely hated that guy. Jordan Addison is on almost all of my fantasy teams because I was so high on Jordan Addison this year. Now, some outlets are saying go stack up JSN. Go get him because he's going to be good. And maybe he will. But I just don't trust the usage. What I do trust is Captain Kirk. And I do trust the high volume and the fact that the Chargers need a win. Now, the Vikings, I don't really care. I don't even think they care. They might trade Kirk Cousins. Who knows? I don't know. I don't think they will because they're idiots. If you can get a first-round pick for Kirk Cousins right now, he's not on your team next year no matter what. You trade the guy, okay? You trade him to the Jets. That's what I think should happen. Not going to happen. That's okay. But give me Jordan Addison this week, 100%. And I would say he's probably the top flex player in the week. Highest over-under game. Going to get into a shootout. It's going to be great. Addison, not Madison. Okay? This is not Madison. Yes to Addison. That's a great way to go. Like I said, I'm Flex Matt here for the DFS Army Fantasy Football Podcast. If you've checked out DFS Army, which is not just why you're here because of us, but also because you love DFS Army, we're winning money. Okay? On a high rate of winning money in DFS. Go give them a like, a follow. Follow Geek. Here we go, Brandon McBroom. Thank you for helping me out on the solo pod so far. Appreciate that. Okay? Mike Dickinson's going to come in here soon, but a Lions wide receiver that isn't hurt should be a good flex option. I believe in that, Brandon McBroom. I'd like to know who you like, Brandon McBroom. Tell me about it. Tell me about who you think, because we're smart here. Okay? That's what we do. We got a community. My next flex play coming in, he's not sweet cheese. He's a good smelling salt. Okay? He's back. In my opinion, he's back. Now, we have not had a lot of guys get into the end zone that we have really expected to. Josh Jacobs, not in the end zone. Chase, not in the end zone. Justin Jefferson almost got to the end zone, not. Some of my favorite DFS bets this week are some of your studs, finally making it this week, which I love. But my guy, and I've been saying this for a long time, Derek Carr, he sucks. Okay? If you watch that game, which was an atrocious game on Monday night. Okay, Monday night doubleheaders, big fan. Monday night doubleheaders with Carolina and Derek Carr, not a big fan of those. Derek Carr threw the ball, triple coverage. You could see it a mile away. 3 guys. Just let me go heave it up. But what he seems to be doing is peppering. You know, like when they go on the Italian, when you're at the Italian restaurant, you want some pepper, and you just look at it, and they just like, oh, is this it? Is this all you want? You're like, no, give me more peppers. Okay. That's Michael Thomas this week. It has to be. Okay. Michael Thomas is a safety outlet. We're not playing Jerome Ford this week. That's who we're not playing. But we are playing Michael Thomas this week for some peppers. Okay? I want a nice safe floor with some upside. Well, guess what some upside is in the end zone? Let's take a look at the over-under here. Saints Packers 42.5. That's not a great over-under. That's not great. Jags Texans are at a 44 over-under. 42.5. Not a great over-under. But I love the fact that Derek Carr can't seem to push the ball down the field properly. Not to mention Packers, stellar cornerback play against Olave, I would assume. It seems to be a Michael Thomas week. Brandon McBroom answers the Lions wide receiver question. Marvin Jones, if you're desperate, you'd have to be so desperate. Reynolds groin, St. Brown turf toe. I know. It's so stinky out there. Oh, it is not looking good. Let's talk about that Jaguars game. Another flex play I got is you got to throw him in there. Is Christian Kirk. Last week, Christian Kirk went off. Everybody thought it was Zay Jones. We were dumb. Okay? We were dumb. Christian Kirk, he's an animal. He's the guy in that offense. Zay Jones is the 3. Yes, he was running more. Well, he was running all the routes. He was in on 2 wide receiver sets, Zay Jones. But we found out why we can't believe. Well, first of all, the Jaguars, they also own a wrestling company. So it's possible they don't even know anything about football. It's quite possible that that's actually a thing. But Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, and finally, my guy, Michael Dickinson. Hey, Mike, you're here. You're finally here. I had to solo pod until you got here. It was crazy. It was going off the rails. I was getting to Christian Kirk this week. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones out. Okay, not gonna play. Doesn't seem like he's gonna play. Christian Kirk, easy flex play. Michael Thomas, peppered by targets. Okay. And then my last flex play, Jordan Addison. But we have just a short amount of time left, guys. We're going short, easy. Mike Dickinson, give me 3 or maybe more flex plays that you got this week, my friend.
All right, so my first one, we're going to Baltimore. Justice Hill is out. Obviously, we know J.K. Dobbins is out. Baltimore just grossly activated Melvin Gordon off the practice squad, which means my man Gus Edwards is getting all the work. If you were a hero RB guy or a foundational RB, whatever you want to call it, and you're picking up these guys off the waiver wire, you were drafting lottery tickets late, Gus Edwards is the guy. Cash that lottery ticket. You just hit it. Boom, 10 grand. Lock it in. Volume. It's gonna be a great one. Lock Gus Edwards in. What do you think?
Wow. Yeah, you're on a bit of a delay on your video, but your audio is right on. And let me tell you, I like Gus Edwards this week. I like how spicy and fiery you are. Let's hit it to your second flex play, Mike. Go ahead.
All right. So my second flex play. So here's what I'm going to do. That was gross. I'm going to get really gross, but then I'm going to bring it right back around. All right. So my second one is really, really gross. Hold your nose. You don't like it. It's like a 1:30 a.m. last call at the bar. You're scanning. You're like, all right, who am I going to go home with? Am I going to go home with somebody? Maybe not. But you're like, Screw it. Let's go. My second one, give me Cade Otton, tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wow, I know. All right, so Tampa Bay gets Philadelphia this week. We've seen what Philadelphia has done week 1 and week 2 against a tight end. They made Hunter Henry a thing again. Now we saw in week 2 that Hunter Henry actually was a thing. He was involved in the offense. He's getting like 80+% of the snaps. He's getting targets. He's getting looks. He's getting end zone looks, high value looks. But you look at last week, you look at what Hawkinson did. I said early in week 2, I think week 1 might not even have done yet. I said Hawkinson was my tight end play of the week. It turned out to be that. He put up over 25 fantasy points, depending on your setup. Tight end premium, he gave you even more. So you look at the strength of what Philadelphia does on defense. Philly is taught against the run. Rashad White is a bench for me in all formats this week. And Philly is great on the perimeters with their cornerbacks. So Mike Evans, you downgrade him this week. If you got him, he's still flex worthy for me based on where you drafted him. I think it is a Cade Otton week, and I think it is a Chris Godwin week. Cade Otton he's been the only tight end running. He scored last week, I believe, and he's going to get a ton of looks this week. So give me Cade Otton. What do you think?
Wow. Wow. They really gave you a lot of space.
Wow. Mike Dickinson coming in hot here. Wow. Okay, last flex play, Mike. Then we'll get out of here. Sorry, short dual solo pod this morning, guys. Sorry we didn't have more time. I got a charity golf tournament. Mike Dickinson he's courting high-end restaurateurs. Brandon is somewhere in the world. Shane is sick. We're doing our best for our flex teams this morning. Go hit us with our last one.
All right, real quick, 2 more. Give me Cortland Sutton, the strength. 2 more. This Cortland Sutton, the strength of Miami's secondary is their slot corner. So give me Sutton on the perimeter. Second one, give me Elijah Moore. I know it's been bad. I know you've suffered through it. Tennessee is allowing 2.9 yards per carry. So all of you that blew your fab on Jerome Ford, I'm sorry he's not going to post this week. It's going to be a Cooper week. It's going to be a Moore week. Cooper dinged up again in that Monday night game, so he's got the groin and he's got the shoulder. Give me Elijah Moore this week.
Wow, Mike Dickinson, you are a manimal. Brandon McBroom, last comment here. Khalil Herbert, he likes Khalil Herbert this week. Chicago's going to have to air it out to keep up with the Chiefs. I think so, too. I'm with you. I don't know if this is the week that we see Roschon Johnson, and we didn't last week. We saw him the week before, but I'm maybe thinking this week might be the week that we kind of start to see a small transformation and what you can see on the high side with Roschon Johnson. But Mike, thank you so much for popping in here. Again, guys, sorry it's a solo or kind of a soft, quick pod. I've got a couple more of these video clips that I saw popped up here. So let me play a couple of these. I don't know what they are, but hold on. I don't know what that was.
Nah, fuck with your shit.
Okay.
Yeah, you will take your chances. I know.
Yes, we will take our chances this week with our flex teams, but we are the DFS Army Fantasy Football Podcast. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We will be back in full force next week. This week, quick
questions. Hit me on Twitter at Mike_Dickinson. I got you.
At Mike_Dickinson. It's right there. He's got you for Flex Matt, for at Mike_Dickinson. We are the DFS Fantasy Football Podcast, and we will see you next week.
He's my best friend. He's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my